Ever found yourself in a situation where you hold two beliefs that completely contradict each other? Like when you say you care about the environment but can't resist ordering your weekly plastic-wrapped takeout? Yeah, that uncomfortable feeling you get is called cognitive dissonance, and it's something we all deal with on a regular basis. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort you experience when your beliefs, attitudes, or actions clash. It's like your brain is having a mini argument with itself, and no one's winning. So, why does this happen? Why do we stick to behaviors or beliefs that clearly don't align with what we know is right? And most importantly, what tricks do we pull to ease that mental tension? In this episode, we're going to break down the science behind cognitive dissonance, how it plays out in your everyday life, and why your brain just hates being wrong. Like, really hates it. Let's go back to the 1950s when psychologist Leon Festinger came up with the theory of cognitive dissonance. Fun fact, smoking was all the rage back then. People were puffing away, blissfully unaware, or in denial, that cigarettes weren't exactly a health tonic. But as evidence of the dangers of smoking started to pile up, something weird happened. People didn't just quit smoking. Instead, many of them convinced themselves, hey, smoking's not that bad. This mental gymnastics is the heart of cognitive dissonance. Smokers knew cigarettes were bad for them, but quitting was hard. So, to avoid feeling guilty, they changed their belief instead of their behavior. Suddenly, they were saying things like, my grandpa smoked until he was 90 and he was fine, even though deep down they knew better. Our brains hate inconsistency, and cognitive dissonance creates a pressure to resolve that. It's like trying to drive with the parking brake on. You're going to want to fix it because it feels uncomfortable, and it's slowing you down. When cognitive dissonance strikes, your brain goes into panic mode. It's like when you realize you've left the house with two different shoes on. Something just doesn't feel right. The thing is, your brain is wired to keep you feeling good about yourself. You want to believe that your actions align with your beliefs, because that makes you feel like a coherent, logical person. When that doesn't happen, it's like your brain is saying, excuse me, what's going on here? But here's the kicker. The brain hates being wrong even more than it loves being right. When faced with dissonance, instead of accepting that we might be wrong, we often adjust our thinking to protect our ego. This is why we end up convincing ourselves that skipping the gym wasn't really that bad for our health, or that it's totally okay to hit snooze on that alarm for the 10th time. So how does the brain deal with this mental discomfort? It gets creative. That's how. When we experience cognitive dissonance, we tend to resolve it using one of these three tricks. 1. Change the behavior. This is the toughest option because it involves doing something we don't want to do, like actually quitting smoking or going to the gym instead of binge-watching another season of your favorite show. 2. Change the belief. This is the mental loophole. Instead of facing the fact that you might be making a poor choice, you convince yourself that what you're doing isn't so bad after all. Skipping the gym today is fine, I'll just go tomorrow. Spoiler, tomorrow never comes. 3. Add new beliefs to justify the behavior. This is classic excuse mode. You tell yourself, well, I did walk a lot today, so that counts as exercise. Or, sure, I'm eating fast food, but I'm ordering a salad this time, so it's healthy. You're stacking new beliefs on top of the old ones to make everything feel harmonious again. In short, we'll bend over backward to convince ourselves we're not wrong, even when the facts are staring us right in the face. Cognitive dissonance is sneaky. It's shaping decisions you didn't even know you were making. Ever bought something you didn't need because it was on sale and then convinced yourself it was a great deal? Yeah, that's cognitive dissonance. The discomfort of knowing you spent money unnecessarily is too much, so you reframe it to justify the purchase. Or think about voting in an election. Once you've picked a candidate, you're likely to ignore or downplay any negative information about them. It's just easier to stick to your choice than admit you might have been wrong. So, your brain conveniently filters out the bad stuff and focuses on what confirms your decision. This also happens in relationships. Ever stayed in a relationship longer than you should have because you didn't want to admit you made a mistake? That's cognitive dissonance at play too. Admitting you were wrong about someone can be emotionally painful, so your brain protects you by rationalizing the relationship. They're not that bad, right? Cognitive dissonance isn't just a personal thing. It can also go viral on a societal level. Think about it. When a large group of people holds a belief, even if it's wrong, they'll find ways to justify it to reduce dissonance. This is how conspiracy theories thrive. People may be presented with overwhelming evidence that their belief isn't true, but instead of accepting it, they dig deeper, finding new ways to justify their stance. Social media makes this even worse. Algorithms feed us information that confirms our beliefs, making us feel comfortable in our cognitive bubbles. Meanwhile, anything that challenges those beliefs is either ignored or explained away. As we age, cognitive dissonance doesn't take a break. It just finds new targets. Ever caught yourself saying, "I should really start eating healthier," while simultaneously biting into a slice of pizza? Yep, that's dissonance at its finest. We become more aware of our mortality and what we should be doing, but we still want to indulge. This leads to a constant battle between long-term goals, being healthy, responsible, etc., and short-term pleasures, cookies, naps, Netflix binges. Dissonance pops up every time we try to reconcile those two forces. It's like having a tiny angel and devil on your shoulder, both pretty convincing in their own ways. Cognitive dissonance might be uncomfortable, but it's also a sign that your brain is trying to figure things out. It's a nudge to either change your behavior or rethink your beliefs. And while it's tempting to justify every choice we make, sometimes that discomfort is telling us something important. Maybe it's time to reevaluate. So next time you feel that little mental tug of war, don't just smooth it over. Lean into it. It's your brain's way of keeping you honest. And that's not such a bad thing. That is it for today. Take care and see you in the next episode.